Hey guys, I'm T and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, we make trendy and fun crochet tutorials twice a week. And if you haven't already, smash that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to join in on the fun. Happy upload day! I'm gonna keep this one short and sweet. I got a request for more business attire and thought this would be perfect with some khakis in an office setting, or paired with a skirt or work-related event. It's fairly easy, so it'll make the perfect weekend project, or the perfect project to work on as you're catching up on some shows. And if you do decide to make this your next binge watch project, be sure to let me know by hitting me up on Instagram or Twitter. I'm always interested to see what you guys have going on, and tag me in some pics because I'd love to see it. Now, I have some business to tend to, so without further ado. For this project, any category for yarn will work, but I used a total of 435 grams of yarn, and that's 780 yards if you're stateside, and the individual measurements will be on the screen. As to tools, a 5.5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order, and watch to the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. We're using 3 stitches for this project, and they'll be as follows. Chain, slip stitch, single crochet, and half double crochet. This tutorial is for size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we're first going to grab our category 4 yarn and make a slip knot. Next, we're going to grab our 5.5mm hook, and we're going to start off by making a chain that reaches from our underarm down to where we want the bottom of this top to be. I want mine to be about 14 inches or 35 centimeters, so I'm going to start by making a chain of 50. Now that we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain and do a chain of 2. This is our turning chain, so from here we're going to yarn over, preparing for a half double crochet. We're going to insert our hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the third chain from our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through that chain, should have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 3. Let's do one more half double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook into that next chain, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. Continue to put 1 half double crochet into every chain, leaving the last one so that we can increase together. Now that we've put 1 half double crochet into every chain, into that last one we're going to do an increase of 2. So start with a yarn over, and into that last chain insert with 1 half double crochet, and then 1 more into that same last chain. So insert. Now we should have 2 half double crochets into that last chain. And from here we're going to switch out to a back loop slip stitch row. So chain 1, flip our work, and we're going to put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. So start by inserting your hook into that first available stitch's back loop. You should have 2 loops on our hook, and from here we're going to yarn over and automatically pull through those 2 loops on our hook. So pull through 1 and pull through 2. Let's do the next one. Into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. Insert, pull through everything. Continue to do this, making our way all the way down, and I'll meet you back at the end of our row number 2. Alright, we have made our way all the way down to the end of our row number 2, which is our first back loop slip stitch row. Now we're going to alternate back to our half double crochet row, but now they're all going to be in the back loops as well. So we're going to get that started, and then we're going to keep repeating these 2 rows. So from here, we're going to start with a chain 2. That's our turning chain. We're going to flip our work and yarn over. Insert your hook into that first available stitch's back loop, and then half double crochet per usual. Let's do 1 more. Yarn over into that next back loop, pull through 3. Continue to put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch while maintaining the increase of 2 half double crochets, making sure we're still going into the back loops, into that last stitch. And then from there, do a chain 1, flip your work, and do a row of back loop slip stitches. Continue these 2 rows of back loop half double crochets with an increase in back loop slip stitch row until this reaches the corner of our underarm, making sure that we meet back right after a slip stitch row, and then I'll meet you guys back. Alright, so I am back with my underarm portion. I have a total of 4 rows, and this width is about 1.5 inches or 4 centimeters. I did end on my slip stitch row, so from here we're going to do a little bit more of a curve. so this can curve more smoothly up to our shoulder portion. So along the end, we're going to do a chain 2, flip our work, and then we're going to put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. And I'll meet you back at the last stitch so that we can do an increase of 3. All right, so I have made my way all the way back up, and now we're going to do an increase of 3 back loop half double crochets into that last stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into that last back loop with 1, with 2, and then with, there we go, 3 half double crochets. And since we want this to curve just a little bit more, we're going to need to increase into our slip stitch row as well. So from here, we're going to chain 2. Here's 1, here's 2, and this is still going to be our slip stitch row. So we're going to turn our work, and then we're going to insert our hook into that second chain's back loop. So we're skipping this first one into that next back loop. I'm going to insert, yarn over, and pull through everything. And continue to put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And then when we reach the end of our row, do a chain 2, flip our work, and then continue to put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch with an increase of 3 into the last. And then we're going to alternate between these 2 rows until this reaches the front of our body, making sure that we meet back right after a half double crochet row. Alrighty, so I am back and I now have the entirety of my underarm portion all finished. I have a total of 7 rows and my width is now a total of 2 inches or 5 centimeters. This may seem a little small, but remember that once we put it up to yourselves and you guys stretch it, it'll fit perfectly fine. But once we have this, we should have all ended on our half double crochet row. So now we're going to make a chain that reaches all the way up to our shoulders. So I'm going to make a chain of 15 and that is 4.5 inches or 12 centimeters. And now that we have our chain, we're going to work our way back down with a slip stitch row. So from here, we're going to block off that last chain, do a chain 1, and then into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to insert with a slip stitch. And we're going to continue to put 1 slip stitch into every chain. When we reach the body portion, continue to put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And then at the end of this row, do a chain 2, flip your work, and put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. We're going to alternate between a back loop half double and back loop slip stitch row with no increases and no decreases until this reaches the base of our neck. And I will meet you guys back right after a slip stitch row to let you guys know what we're going to do next. Alright, so I am back with my shoulder portion. I have a total of 12 rows, and the width is now a total of 3.5 inches or 9 centimeters. And now we can get started on our V-neck portion. So what we're going to do is start off by inserting our stitch marker into the stitch right where we want our V-neck to start to curve. So if you guys want to go into my numbers, I inserted my stitch marker into the 13th stitch from the top, and that is 3.5 inches or 9 centimeters. Now from here, since we all should have ended on a slip stitch row, we're going to do a chain 2, flip our work, and put 1 back loop half double crochet, making our way all the way up until we are 2 stitches right before our stitch marker, and I'll meet you back so that we can decrease together. Alright, so we have put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, and we have 2 stitches left right before our stitch marker. So we're now going to do a decrease of 2 into those 2 stitches. So yarn over, insert your hook into that second to last back loop, pull through into that last back loop, pull through. We should have 4 loops on our hook, so from here we're going to yarn over, pull through all 4. And that is our decrease of 2 back loop half double crochets. And from here, all we're going to do is a chain 1, flip our work, and we're going to put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And when we reach the end of this row, do a chain 2, flip your work, put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, and decrease into the last 2. And we're going to keep repeating these 2 rows until this stretches over to the middle of our body. And I'll meet you guys back right after a half double crochet row. Alright, so I now have one side of my V-neck portion all finished up, and now we're going to repeat pretty much everything that we did here, but opposite, going up the other way. But we first want to have our middle row. So we all should have ended on our half double crochet row, so all we're going to do is do a chain 1, flip our work, and then bring it back down, putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. That is going to be our middle row, and once we reach the end of that row, we're going to do a chain 2, flip our work, put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, making our way back up, leaving 1 just so I can increase with you guys one time, and I'll let you guys move on from there. Alright, so we're back. We have just finished our middle row, And then we have put one back loop half double crochet all the way up, and I'm just going to increase with you guys one more time. So from here, we're going to yarn over into that last back loop. We're going to insert with 1, 2 half double crochets, because working up this way, we did a decrease of 2 into each of our half double crochet rows. So from here, just do a chain 1, flip your work, put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, and then our next row is going to be another back loop half double crochet row with an increase. And we're going to repeat those 2 rows until we have the same amount of rows as this decreased portion over here. Then I'll meet you guys back so we can work on our shoulder portion. Alright, so I am back and I have the same amount of rows that I have on this side of my middle stitch marker when it comes to doing our increase. From here, we're now going to make a chain the same amount of stitches that we skipped along the side. And if you guys went in with my numbers, I skipped a total of 13 stitches. So all I'm going to do is make a chain of 13, chain 1 extra, slip stitch into the second chain from our hook, and then go in with the same amount of shoulder rows that we have on this side, and then I will meet you guys back so that we can do our underarm portion. Alrighty, we now have our second shoulder portion all done, and now we're going to finish this off by doing our 2 underarm portions that we have. So we're all going to start by inserting our stitch marker into the same amount of chains that we made on this side. So if you guys have my numbers, I made a chain of 15. So on this side, I counted down 15 stitches and inserted my stitch marker. Now I'm going to put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch until I am 3 stitches right before my stitch marker to do a decrease of 3, because on this side we did an increase of 3, and then we'll move on from there together. Alright, we have half double crocheted all the way down, and we have 1, 2, 3 stitches right before our stitch marker, and now we're going to do our decrease. So what we're going to do is yarn over, insert your hook into that third to last back loop, pull through, second to last back loop, pull through, and last back loop, pull through. We should have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 loops on our hook. So yarn over, pull through all 5, chain 1 to start up our next slip stitch row and flip our work. So to get that started, we're going to insert our hook into that first back loop, pull through, next back loop, and we're going to automatically yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on our hook. That's how we do a decrease of 2 back loop slip stitches. And we're now going to repeat our 2 previous rows that we just did until we have the same amount of increased rows as this side that we have over here, and then I will meet you guys back to do the last half of our underarm portion where we just did an increase into the half double crochet rows, and I'll meet you guys back just to remind you guys how to do a decrease into your half double crochet rows, and then we can move on from there. Alrighty y'all, we are almost done with our front panel. So I have just finished up going in with my half double and slip stitch rows where we did a decrease into every row. Now we're going to close it off with the same way that we started this off, by doing a decrease into every half double. So since we all should have ended on our half double crochet row, we're going to slip stitch all the way down, no increases and decreases. Do a chain 2, flip our work, put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. Leaving the last 2, I'm going to decrease with you guys and I'll let you guys finish off from there. Alright, we are about to finish up going in with our underarm portion. So I'm just going to remind you guys how we're going to do it. We have half double crocheted all the way up, and we're now going to do a decrease of 2 into the last 2 stitches. So yarn over, insert your hook into that second to last back loop, pull through, into that last back loop, pull through. We should have 4 loops on our hook, so from here we're going to yarn over, pull through all 4. So chain 1, flip our work, and we're going to put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, and we're going to repeat those 2 rows until we have the same amount of rows that we started off with when we only did an increase into the half double crochet rows. Do a chain up of 1 and cut once we have that, and then I'll meet you guys back so we can do the back panel together. Alright, so I just finished my front panel. I did do a chain up of 1 and cut, and now we're going to get started on our back panel. So our back panel is going to be pretty much a repeat of the front panel. So make the same amount of chains, same amount of underarm rows that we have, make the same chain going up to the shoulder, and then from there we're going to do a back loop slip stitch and back loop half double crochet row, making our way all the way across, so with no increases and no decreases. Once we have the same amount of rows from shoulder to shoulder, we're then going to do our underarm portion. Just as an example, this is what it would look like. So same underarm, same shoulder, work your way all the way across, and then do the same underarm portion. Once we have that, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can seam it together. Now that we have our back panel all finished, we're now going to seam it to the front panel, and we're going to start with our side seam first. So taking a look at our back panel, we're going to flip it upside down so that all the ribbing is faced down. And then taking a look at our front panel, we're going to make sure that our ribbing is faced up. And we're all going to start by inserting our hook into the corner stitch of the front and corner stitch of the back panel. And then from there, we're going to take our yarn and insert that onto our hook. We're going to pull this through, do a chain up of 1. And now we're going to do an outside loop slip stitch seam. So let's just do the first few together. Into that next available loop into the front panel, go ahead and insert your hook into that front loop. And into the next available loop into the back panel, insert, going into that back loop, yarn over it and pull through all 3 of those loops. Let's do one more. Into the next stitch into the front panel, insert your hook into that front loop. Next stitch into the back panel, insert your hook into that back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. Continue to do this until we don't have any more stitches left, and then do a chain up of 1 and cut, and I'll meet you back so that we can seam our shoulder together. Now that our sides are now attached, we are now going to do a single crochet seam for the shoulders. So now we're going to make sure that our work is slipped wrong side out, so the ribbing that we have is facing itself. And we're all going to start by inserting our hook into the corner stitch of both the front and the back panel. From here, insert your yarn onto your hook, and then we're going to do a single crochet seam now. So we're going to pull through, do a chain up of 1 to secure. And from here, we're going to be putting 1 single crochet into every side row that we have. So my first side row is this side half double crochet. I'm going to insert my hook into there. Also insert my hook into that next side half double crochet that I have into the back panel, and then single crochet. My next side row is a side slip stitch row. So into this row right here, I'm going to find that top loop, insert my hook, find that same top loop into the back panel for the next side slip stitch row that I have, and then single crochet. I'm going to keep doing this until we don't have any more stitches left to go into the front panel. Do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then do the same thing that we did here on the other side. We have just finished up seaming our sides and our shoulder, and what we're going to do from here is work on our sleeve. So we're first going to make sure that our work is flipped right side out, and we're going to insert our hook into that last stitch that we have into our side seam. Insert your yarn onto your hook, pull through, and making sure that we're working clockwise, we're going to put 2 single crochet into every side half double crochet. So let's get that started. This is my first side half double crochet right here, so I'm going to insert my hook into there, and then insert with 1 single crochet, and then into that same side half double, insert with a second single crochet. And that's going to be the sequence for the underarm portion, so let's do the next one together. Skipping over our next side slip stitch row, inserting into our next side half double crochet row, insert with 1 single crochet, and then insert with our second single crochet. We're going to keep doing this all the way up. Once we reach our shoulder portion, put 1 single crochet into every stitch, and then when we reach this underarm portion, continue to put 2 single crochet into every side half double, slip stitch into that chain 1 space, and then I'll meet you guys back. Alright, so we have made our way all the way around with our first single crochet row. We slip stitched into that chain 1 space, and now we're going to chain 1, flip our work, and we're going to put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, just like how we did for the body. So my work is already flipped, and just to show you guys what we're going to do one more time, we're going to insert our hook into that first available stitch's back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. We're going to continue to do this, making our way all the way around. Slip stitch into that chain 1 space, and then I'll meet you guys back. Alright, so row number 2 for our sleeve is all done, and that was our back loop slip stitch row, and now we're going to start working on the cap portion. So we slip stitch into that chain 1 space. From here, we're going to chain 1 and flip our work, making sure that we are working clockwise now, just like how we were for the row number 1. And we're going to start by making the same amount of single crochets that we made for our underarm portion. So if you guys remember, we put 2 single crochets for every side half double crochet row that we had. So I have a total of 8 single crochets to do, and they're all going to be into the back loops. So insert your hook into that first available stitch's back loop with your first single crochet. Let's do the next one. You're going to insert into that back loop, pull through 2. I'm going to keep going until I have a total of 8. And now that I have my 8 back loop single crochets, we're going to do a decrease of 2 back loop single crochets and then half double crochet all the way up and over. So let's do the first one together. Insert your hook into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through, into that next stitch's back loop, yarn over, pull through. We should have 3 loops on our hook, so from here we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. From here we're going to put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch until we have the same amount of single crochets that we made on the side plus an extra 2 stitches for our decrease. So I'm going to meet you guys back when I have a total of 8 stitches plus 2, so 10 stitches left, and I'll show you guys how to close off this row. Alright, so I've made my way up and over with my back loop half double crochets, and I have met you guys back when I have my 10 stitches left. So into the next 2 stitches, we're going to do a decrease of 2 back loop single crochets again. So insert your hook into that next back loop, pull through, into that next back loop, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, and then from here continue to put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch and slip stitch into that chain 1 space. Once we have that, do a chain 1, flip your work, and then do a row of back loop slip stitches with no increases and no decreases. And we're going to repeat these 2 rows until this portion gets nice and snug around our arm. So just as a reminder, our back loop slip stitch row has absolutely no increases or decreases. And then for our back loop single and half double crochet row, we're always going to start off with the same amount of back loop single crochets as we made when we were doing our underarm portion. Decrease of 2 back loop single crochets, and then half double crochet all the way up and over, and then repeat the decrease and single crochet sequence back all the way down. I'll meet you guys back right after a slip stitch row to show you guys what to do after that. We're back, and I have now finished up doing the cap portion of my sleeve, and it's now nice and snug. I have a total of 12 rows. I ended on a slip stitch row, and now we're just going to need to continue on with the cap because we need this to curve over our shoulder. So all this is going to be is doing the same amount of single crochets and put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, making our way around and then closing off with the same amount of single crochets and then a slip stitch row. So basically the same thing that we've been doing but without a decrease. So I'm just going to get the first row started off with you guys. Okay, so I have already slip stitched into that chain 1 space, did a chain up of 1 and flip my work. And I'm going to start with doing my back loop single crochets, and I have a total of 8. Alright, here's my 8 back loop single crochets, and all we're going to do is start with our back loop half double crochets and continue with our back loop half double crochets, close off with the same amount of back loop single crochets, slip stitch, chain 1, flip your work, and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. Keep doing this until this becomes completely horizontal on our arm when we wear it, and then I'll meet you guys back right after a slip stitch row. I'm back and I've just finished up the rest of my cap sleeve, and it's now horizontal when I wear it. We ended on a slip stitch row, and from here all we're going to do is lengthen our sleeve. So now we're going to do just a row of back loop half double crochet and back loop slip stitches with no increases or decreases until we get to around where our elbow is. So since we all should have ended after a slip stitch row, the only difference is that we're going to do a chain 2, flip our work, and then just make our way all the way around, putting 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. Slip stitch into that second chain that we made, do a chain 1, flip your work, and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And just alternate between those 2 rows until you reach right around where our elbow is, or wherever we need to start doing our decreases, and I'll meet you guys back right after a slip stitch row. I'm back with the length of my sleeve. I'm just about where my elbow is, and I have a total of 44 rows. From here, what we're going to do is pretty much do the same thing, but we are going to start and end with a decrease so that this can continue to be tight on our arm. So I'm just going to show you guys how to do the first one. We should have all ended on a slip stitch row. So we're going to chain 2, flip our work, and to do our decrease of 2 back loop half double crochets, we're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that first back loop, pull through, into that next back loop, pull through. We should have a total of 4 loops on our hook. So we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. we're going to put one back loop half double crochet into every stitch, leaving the last two. I'll remind you guys how to decrease one more time and let you guys do the rest on your own. We've made our way all the way around and we should have 2 stitches left just so we can do our next decrease with each other. So what we're going to do is yarn over, insert your hook into that second to last back loop, pull through, into that next back loop, pull through. We should have 4 loops on our hook, so yarn over, pull through all 4, slip stitch into that second chain that we made, chain 1, flip our work, and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And we're going to keep repeating these 2 rows until this gets nice and snug, and then we're going to keep going until this reaches our wrist. I'll meet you guys back so that we can do the cuff. Alright, so I am back and I just finished up going in with the entirety of my sleeve. I have a total of 45 rows, and from where I left you guys off, I decreased into the 45th, 53rd, and 57th row. And from here, I did do a chain of 1 and cut, and now we're going to start working on our cuff. So I went ahead and already inserted my secondary color onto my hook. I'm going to pull through, do a chain up of 1 to secure, and we're all going to start off by doing a single crochet, just putting 1 single crochet into every stitch that we have. So just to the first one, we're going to insert your hook into that first available stitches, into that first stitch with a single crochet, and that's it. Keep putting 1 single crochet into every stitch, slip stitch into that chain 1 space, and I'll meet you guys back. Now that we have single crocheted along the bottom of our sleeve, we're now going to make a chain the length that we want our cuff to be. I want mine to be about 2 inches or 5 centimeters, so I'm going to start by making a chain of 12. And now that we have our chain, we are going to block off that last chain, do a chain 1, and into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to insert with a slip stitch. So let's do the next one. Insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, and pull through everything. We're going to put 1 slip stitch into every chain. And now that we put 1 slip stitch into every chain, we're going to slip stitch into that next available stitch that we have. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through everything, and now our row number 1 is all closed off. From here, we're going to slip stitch into that next stitch, flip our work, and we're going to put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, making our way all the way up. And we're going to keep doing this until we don't have any more stitches left. When we reach the end of our row, we're going to do a chain 1, flip your work, and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, working our way back down. When we reach back to the base, we're going to connect it just the same way that we did, and then I'll meet you guys back when we don't have any more stitches left, so that we can seam it together. Now that we've made our way all the way around with our cuff, which is all back loop slip stitch rows, we're now going to seam it together. So the way we're going to seam this is going to be the same way that we have seamed our side. So we're first going to make sure that our work is flipped right side out. We're going to insert our hook into the back panel's corner stitch. Since our hook is already in through this working yarn over, pull through everything, and we're going to do our outside loop slip stitch seam. So let's do that together. Into that first available stitch into the front panel, insert your hook into that front loop, and then into your next available stitch into the back panel, insert in through that back loop. Should have 3 loops on our hooks. From here, all we're going to do is yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Let's do one more. Into the next stitch into the front panel, insert your hook only in through that front loop. There we go. And then into the back panel, into that next stitch, only insert your hook into that back loop. Yarn over, pull through all 3, and we're going to keep doing this until we don't have any more stitches left to go into. Do a chain up 1 and cut, and then do everything that we did here on this side for the other sleeve. Alright, so we are back and we have just finished both of our sleeves, and now we're going to finish this piece off by doing our collar. So we're first going to start by grabbing our primary color. We're going to insert our hook into one of the stitches that's nearest to our shoulder. Insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and do a chain up of 1 to secure. And from here, we're just going to make our way all the way around with a single crochet row. So work our way down this shoulder portion that we have right here. We're just going to put 1 single crochet into every stitch. So just do the first one. We're going to insert our hook into that first stitch, and then single crochet. We're going to keep doing this, making our way all the way down. I'll meet you guys back once we reach this portion right here. We have a bunch of side rows to work into. I'll show you what we're going to do from there. Now that we have single crocheted all the way down, we now have our side rows to work into. All we're going to do is put 2 single crochets into every side half double crochet. So let's do the first one together. We're going to insert our hook into that first side half double crochet with 1 single crochet, and then 1 more single crochet into that same side half double. So there's my second. We're going to skip over this side slip stitch row and 2 single crochet into the next. So here is 1, and then into that same side half double, there is 2. Skip over the side slip stitch and then 2 single crochet into the next side half double crochet. We're going to keep doing this, making our way all the way up and around. Same rules apply when we reach our back. Slip stitch into that chain 1 space, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, our single crochet row for our collar is all finished, and now we're going to go in with the fold over portion of our collar. So we're first going to have to do a single crochet row where we want our fold over portion to be. So from here, I have inserted my stitch marker into the 2 middle stitches that we have, and then I want mine to be about 1 inch apart on both sides. So I counted out 1, 2, 3 on one side, inserted my stitch marker, then on this side, counted 1, 2, 3 on this side. And then from here, we're going to do a single crochet row from this stitch marker all the way around to this next stitch marker. So I'm going to insert my yarn onto my hook, pull through, do a chain up of 1 to secure, and from here we're just going to put 1 single crochet into every stitch, making our way all the way around. I'll meet you guys back once we meet the stitch marker. Now that we have single crocheted all the way around, we're now going to make a chain the length that we want the fold over portion of our collar to be. And I want mine to be about 1.5 inches or 3 centimeters, so I'm going to make a chain of 8. Now that we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain, do a chain of 2. That counts as our turning chain, and from here we're going to yarn over, preparing for a half double crochet. Insert our hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the 3rd chain from our hook, with a half double crochet. Just like that. And we're going to continue to put 1 half double crochet into every chain. Now that we've put 1 half double crochet into every chain, we're now going to slip stitch it into the base. And since we need this collar to kind of fan out a little bit, we're only going to be slip stitching into that next stitch, into the base, so into that next stitch, insert to close off this first row, and then in order to work our way up to the next row, we're going to slip stitch into that next stitch, flip our work, and then put 1 half double crochet into every stitch. When we reach the end of this row, do a chain 2, flip our work, and put 1 half double crochet into every stitch, and making sure that we connect it into the base the same way that we just did. I'll meet you guys back once we have made our way all the way around to our next stitch marker, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then we can move on from there. All right, so we have made our way all the way around with our collar. I did do a chain up of 1 cut, and we are actually all done. The last thing we're gonna have to do is weave in all of our ends. Our ends are woven in, and our business casual top is all finished. I'm absolutely in love with this top. I know I say that about every piece, but I really love the collar and the cuffs, and it's given me a little bit of some Wednesday Adam vibes, so I'm all here for it. Let me know if you guys are too. There is a rip pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order, and enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us the last time you gave someone a hug. Good luck to everyone who enters. Also, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up because believe it or not, it actually helps. And be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. All of those links are down below. Link to our Etsy page is down there too if you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel. And be sure to favorite the shop so you don't miss out on new patterns and exclusive deals. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.